Hello, you beautiful people. Another episode of Uncle Talk, and today I'm going to talk about how to be a good teacher. Hello, Rohan.
Hello, hi, good. How are you? I'm good. I'm good. Excited to talk about teachers today.
Yes, it's about how to be a good teacher. Have you ever been in the position of teaching?
I guess so. Yeah, it's to some extent. I like taught other students. I think students teaching students, right? Or like in that sense, like being more of a tutor. Yeah, in that way, I think I have been a kind of a teacher, maybe.
So, and then, for example, let's say when you know what, when we talk about being a teacher, understand that what comes first in everybody's mind, including you, is that academical definition that we have about a teacher. That means there is a guy that knows something with the kind of good skills and professionality, and there are some students, and then that person is going to talk about it. This is what we have seen in a school a lot. Okay, teachers. Um, how about other cases? For example, let's say, do you think you are a teacher for your wife, and your wife also is a sort of teacher for you?
Uh, Maybe to some extent, yes. I mean, we do like there are certain things that I learn stuff from her every day, and I think she learns some stuff from me maybe every day. I don't know. I have to ask her. But yeah, so I don't know if it's a conscious act of teaching another person, but I think you do learn from each other. So I mean, I guess if learning is happening somewhere, teaching is happening, maybe, right?
The point is this: if we want to look at teaching, being teacher is a job. Okay, it means like you want to join, you want to be graphic designer, you want to be a teacher at university level, school level, doesn't matter. But teaching as a skill is what I like to focus on. That I think it's a critical skill because it led you to transfer your knowledge and experience and whatever you know to other people. These people can be not necessarily your students, can be a friend, can be your coworkers, colleague, can be your a family. This ability to explain something that they don't know it. Okay, so this is the act of teaching. So if I am in a relationship with someone, I think it's a very critical skill that I'm gonna be able to teach her about myself. So the core subject is myself,
Mhm.
and your course. So then the other person's subject is herself. So not only be able to be a good student, which is we are better than that, but we have to be also be a good teachers. And I'll tell you that how weak and funny and stupid we are in this area, because the way we grown up in the school, they never put us in a position of being a teacher or
Right, right.
teaching properly. And many collision, conflict, and issue will happen in conversation, in human interaction, in the working environment. And all started from this ability that we can't be a good teacher. We are working with our co-workers, they want to criticize, or we want to tell them something about their job, but we don't know how to do that. And we have this skill, I have this skill, and I want to tell to my subordinate, to my staffs to do something. I have to teach them something, but I don't know how to do that. I have a child and I want to give him or her something. I don't know how to do that. I'm in a relationship. I have to explain something about myself to my partner, teach my partner, and I don't know how to do that. And I use it in a way that most of the time a conflict will happen. Most of the time anxiety arises. So this is what I'm trying to target. That you can be a good student, but be a good teacher. I like to admit that we are very sucks out of it. That we're not good. We are quite bad teachers.
Yeah, I think just generally the world is not so great at like sharing. Like we're good at like I guess it's a more of like again the consumer mindset, right? A lot of us are trained to consume and consume and consume, but not to produce or create or share in a effective way. Yeah.
And I think this is nothing to be ashamed. We are product of this system, the system that was one way, and but I think we should really focus on this one. So I do have a list of things that I feel that help us to be a good teacher, and we can discuss about them and also
Right.
connect them to collaborative learning, which I believe is a good way to teach people how to be a good teachers. And then think of teaching means something that I know you don't know.
Mhm.
some facts that I know you don't know. So it's it can happen for everybody, and I want to explain it to you. What are those skills that I can use as a teacher to teach you, and then you understand, you learn, you support, you collaborate with me. And if I don't use them, I won't get the outcome. It's very important for team, companies, marketers, psychologists, family, children, partnership, everything. So these are the things. So I'm going to pick up. I will tell you. I want you to also share with me some of your own experience in that you couldn't have it, or you got some
Sure.
damages out of it, especially when you were in the school. And then we will discuss how in the technology, or especially for example, maybe we can pick up some examples from our own online platform in Code,
Mm.
or the coming one, Cubic. So the first thing, I guess, the good teacher, a good teacher never blame another person for not already knowing that fact.
Mm. Okay.
Okay,
Doesn't.
I want
Okay.
let's talk about this a little bit. Okay, it's maybe it seems a little bit um, paradoxical, but I think that it's a truth that very it's we often get very annoyed by the fact that why another person doesn't know something yet.
Right.
Okay, even though we never have, or we have never actually told them anything about it. For example, why you don't know I am like this. When I look
Mm.
at the relationship example, we go with this perception that the other person should knows everything, and then when we
Right.
try to explain how come you don't know it, or school systems, or that kind of things that which we feel kind of annoying. But the truth is, if you want to be a good teacher in relationship, in work, in collaboration, in a school, everywhere, with your friend, as a team leader, we should stop acting like that and blame them that why they don't know it yet. It doesn't matter even if topic is simple or not. So this attitude, okay, make it very unlikely that what they actually have to teach it really work. It will reach into successful things. Tell me a little bit about this, if you remember in a school or somewhere or family or anyone else.
Yes, I think for me, like I can say that there's a sense of maybe a lack of empathy and a bit of like an egocentric thing, right? Like because I know, therefore I should, like I assume that everyone knows. And then like for me in my life, I mean, I think we see it everywhere, from friends to parents to teachers. I can't recall a very specific experience, but there's certainly times where for me, um, maybe for example, like within my own team, right? Like so there's obviously we have different team members, and I kind of lead the design team, and then there are certain like things that you would expect certain people to know or be able to do, but sometimes they don't know it, and then you're just like, oh, well, why do you not know this, right? But it's that assumption because you for some reason, because you have read this stuff or that stuff, and or because you've learned whatever you've learned, and because you are in the same, let's say, set of circumstances or situation or position or whatever it may be, right, within a company, you make that assumption that everyone will have that same level of depth or breadth of knowledge, right? Which I think is a bit silly, because the truth is all of us are so unique, and we have so many different experiences, so many different capacities for learning and understanding things. So I think for me, that's like, just personally myself, I can say, like, it's what I feel is the most uh, obvious situation when what you mentioned occurs is when you don't empathize with other people, trying to understand that like they are not the same as you. So regardless of whether you may be similar in position or whatever, like you cannot ever really make an assumption of what someone else knows, right? Not I mean, not generally, I would say. Yeah.
Mhm. And here I like to I'm focusing on blaming.
Mm.
I mean, good teaching starts with this, I think, idea that that ignorance, okay, is not a weakness of the individual we're instructing.
Okay.
It's about the weakness or the consequence of the environment that they have been there, and that environment never properly taught them that idea, maybe. So it's not personal. So I can't blame a person why
Mm.
you don't know this. It happened to me many, many times that in many team members, in many talks, especially when I was engaging some topics that required a little bit of mathematics, then I faced that why some simple concepts, those team members that don't know it, for example. When I was younger, it was the kind of question. It started because I have a quite long years of experience in teaching at university and different places. I had this feeling that how come you don't know this? What you've done in your life? How come you don't know? And then when I went deeper before I started keto codes and understanding, okay, I know why they don't know it. So there's no any point for blaming. And most probably same thing happened to me. There are things that I didn't face with them because of my cultures, my society, my family, my school model, and there's no any blame on me. So a good teacher knows this. And when it comes to collaborative learning and online learning environment, I think it's very simple. When we put children in a situation of collaborate and dividing the task with them. So you go and research a little bit on this, you go and research a little bit on this, and come back and talk together. So intrinsically, we are building this environment that they face with things that they don't know. So that means there's no point to blame for them. That means, okay, I'll tell you and go and tell me. That means there's a chance that you know something and there's a chance that you don't know. So that means you have the chance for both of it. One of the nice thing about collaborative learning is this. So it led you to communicate with society, with people in futures in your life, everyone else, your children, your life partner, and whoever you engage with this understanding that ignorance is not a defect of the individual. It's not individual weakness. So that's just one thing. So this is the number one. Number two is similar, but a little bit different. Good teachers do not get angry.
Right. Oh wow. That's so many. Uh, I think I can say that, like, wow, angry teachers' memories. There's so many. I mean, where do I start? Well, I think the most frequent, I should say, the most frequent, like, instance of, like, an angry teacher for me is when they've perhaps given, like, asked you to do something, and obviously you haven't done it, right? So you just haven't done, like, either practicing or something like that. Or, like, for me, I noticed that teachers mostly, they never really got angry when we didn't understand something, right? That for me, at least, I never really felt that. But they got angry when there was a lack of, like, effort, or, like, you didn't do something, or you didn't do your homework, or you didn't finish something. Like, it was always the sort of uh, there was a focus again on, I guess, the sort of completion rather than the comprehension of something, which we know already is a big problem in school by itself. But, like, for me, I think that's the only thing that comes to mind. I mean, teachers, like, yeah, they're crazy. They punish you for weird things. They shout at you for random. I mean, just random stuff, not doing your homework or whatever it is. But, like, it's always for me. I think that was one of the things that I again noticed early on. For some reason, teachers got more angry about a lack of completion than a lack of comprehension, which for me ended up being, I guess, okay, because it was like, if I ever needed extra help to understand something or to talk to a teacher, I for me, at least with my teachers, I had that. I had pretty decent teachers that were willing to take that extra time to explain stuff. But when it came to, like, not doing something, then that's when I would, like, get the I'll get the bad end of the stick.
You know what? The thing is, the more, if I'm a teacher, the more that I need other people to know something fast and easy, it's the less that I think I can be able to give them a secure and safe and relaxed training experience. It's very important because this probability that I have in my mind that, okay, my audience, my students, my team members, people, my friends, they can easily and fast understand what I'm going to explain to them, okay, what I'm going to teach to them. This is dangerous because this can drive me into a kind of anger, a possible anger, because the truth is it's not like that the life. There is a philosopher, I can't remember his name. It says the most understanding that we can have in the world about each other is that we never understand each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're living in a world that we have difficulties to understand each other as a human. So there is one thing that I did in my teaching experience. I started to pick up a pessimistic perspective. That means I started to walk in a class by this idea that no one is going to understand. So today is going to be a bad day. That people that taking this a little bit by choice, intentional, slightly detached way of slightly pessimistic way approach. It's get a best chance to me to act relax. So especially when emotion engage, which is there. We're human.
Yeah.
I'm talking with my partner, and he or she has emotion. I'm talking with my children; they have emotion. I'm talking with my colleague, my team members, my investors, and everybody that I engage with them. If I want to teach them about what I have, what I know is correct about myself, about my product, about my idea, about my business, my customer. So I have to teach him about my products. I have to teach her about my services. So it's very important that I step into this assumption that they don't understand it very well. So I have to explain it. I have to be relaxed. I shouldn't get angry. Then this give me and that person a safe environment. So it's a very important things, and this can be created from you from the very early ages. And imagine how easy make people. I really believe, Rohan. We many times we discussed that we're not saying we want to produce better engineers. That traditional school engineering is successful to build good engineers. Actually, we were talking about better people in frame of mind, abilities, psychological part, pedagogical part. We're trying to say that stop that rigid school system, come to this flexibility. You're gonna have engineer, but trust me, happier engineer. Now,
Nice.
the world, there are a lot of statistics from anxiety, from depression, from not being happy of what you do, what you want to do, what you want to reach, and this is coming from a very stressful environment. They're trying to put everything in a box and everybody in the same direction. One of the very important thing is the communication, and that's why I picked up this being a good teacher, to not just say only teacher in the classroom, teacher in your life. You teach many people about yourself and things that you love in your life. And this is very important that you understand that people don't get it fast. And you have to understand what words, what presentation to use it. Same goes to product designers. You are UI UX. You have to understand that people won't get it, even if that's very obvious. And then when you test your products, when you see that, you have to go with perception that they don't understand. So I have to keep make it easy. Iterative way, I have to make it very easy. So that is the second thing that come to my mind. Let's go for the next, Rohan. This one I really like it. I think good teachers uh, admit that they don't know lots of things.
No, yeah, definitely, definitely. I agree. Yeah, I think a lot of whenever a teacher, like in my experience, and anyway, whenever we had teachers that could accept that they did not know something, like because I think you always had like maybe I guess two kinds. You can only have two kinds in this sense. Like ones that accept that they didn't know something and they would say that they didn't know and it would be fine. And they would acknowledge it and it would be funny, and then they would try to figure it out and come back the next day. And then you'd have those that would give you like the most BS explanations and try to like prove that they know something, and it's like everyone's just like knows like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. So like for sure the other teachers, like I think just naturally the like students can again connect better with someone because it's more real, it's more human. It's like no one really expects you to know every single thing. And and the fact that you can acknowledge it, I think like I think people respect you more for that anyway, especially if I mean you're dealing with reasonable people. Like it doesn't make sense that you want to always show like, oh, I know everything and I'm the best, I'm the smartest. Like at some point people just like when people speak with such a like, I think there's a difference between like authority and like ego again, or you can sense it. I think we as human beings, we can sense when someone is just talking full of ego, and it's not really it's more like I'm trying to tell you everything I know, not so much I'm trying to help you understand, you know what I mean? So it's kind of showing off what you know versus actually trying to help people understand something. So that for me, definitely you always have, I think, these two types of teachers. The ones that are more willing to accept that they don't know stuff, and listen to your perspectives and debate and sort of discuss things. I think are always better teachers and make for better learning experience.
True. I think, you know what, when you were saying this, something came to my mind. I want to know that why we should feel bad. You know what? Look at the learning in general. I think it's pretty, maybe pretty humiliating to be in the learning position. Let's look at it a little bit from this perspective, especially when you are an adult. Okay, it's a little bit humiliating because someone else has sort of information that you don't have it,
Mm.
and that can be irritating. That this can force the person learning, they may shut their eyes and they don't want to listen, and they feel a little bit hatred of why that the other person has that superiority, and that thing put him in a position of teaching. This is very important, especially when it comes to the adult. Why you are teaching me? Who do you think you are? So when conversation reaches to this point, it means that you couldn't make it relaxed, the atmosphere. That means you talk in the way that natural, a little bit kind of feeling of humiliation, that I'm in a position that I know some, especially if it's your area, especially for example, if I tell you something about chemistry, you're so humble. But if I tell you something about UI UX, and I'm at your level and I teach you something that you don't know it, then you feel why I don't have it. Okay, that's a
Mm.
greed. But the question is how we can train to be a teacher in the way that, um, sort of I admit that I just know this, and there are many things that I don't know it. So if the teachers can build such a kind of ecosystem atmosphere, then suddenly all those shield, they won't be there. And the procedure of the conversation will be really good, come out of the goodwill, modesty. So it let pupils or students or colleagues or staffs or friends or partners or children and everyone, they engage it. We build a sort of engagement. And one of the, and it's very important. So when I'm a teacher, you're right. When I can admit, or even intentionally, sometimes
Mm.
intentionally, even good teachers intentionally, they may do this. Even there's a
Yeah.
topic that they know it, but they just try to, this is very, you see that this, look at all the things we discussed by now, they're all against teacher centric model approach.
Mhm.
There are important for student centric model, collaborative learnings, problem based learning, design thinking learnings, this online environments. And I want to pick up this specific topic to say that we're building this teacher personality, good teacher personality in every single students. And actually it helped current teachers and students to collaborate in a better way. And in a traditional way, it's very important that I hold this token of I know everything. Authority, teacher centric.
Yeah.
Authority is not decentralized, everything centralized on me. So
Mm.
that's all push me to do all those kind of nasty things, and that's a problem
Yeah.
in the system, not human. And that's why I think this is very important. Teachers, they do that, and thanks to technology, it's so easy. YouTube has a lot of things that you don't know, and children, they reach to those information, so better you tell them. And but then they know that you are a good coach, you are a good mentor.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we let's go for the next one. The next one, I think this is very important. I this is something that even I missed it many times in life, in friendship, in work. And then I think good teachers, they have this ability to pick up good moments. What I mean by good moments is, uh, let's say, I think bad teachers, um, if as a bad teacher, I have this automatically, I have this tendency to teach a lesson to a person exactly on the moment that the problem arises, rather than just wait a little bit and select a time, and maybe 2 3 days later or a few hours later and talk about it. For example, in conversation with friends or with partners, with colleagues and team members, let's say you're trying to cook a food, and I have knowledge about cook the food, and then you make a mistake on a spot. I start, I give you a lecture. Okay,
Okay.
that not gonna work. Or for
Right.
example, something happened between you and I, and you say something, make me angry, or I do, and then you made a mistake, and I have this a kind of anxiety that I have to fix it on the spot. I have to fix it now.
Mm.
I have to fix it.
Right.
I can't wait for that. Or your student make a mistake solving a problem, and you can't wait. You want to just jump in and then start to give this and this and that, rather
Yeah.
than waiting maybe 2 days, 3 days, maybe another time. Maybe your friend is listening to music, and then that's the time you open the conversation, or your students finish the problem down, and then a few hours later you're back. This means they are so good teachers, good to pick up the moments to
Mm.
teach about the mistakes they have done. What do you think?
I think that's absolutely true. It's like, I guess it's the patience, it's the level of like, I know that I know the answer, right? Or I know that I can correct this person, but also I think giving the time for the other person to maybe discover the mistake for themselves, right? So I give them time to breathe. I don't react, because a lot of times when say there's like a heated debate, or you're trying to, different people are trying to prove their point. But if you're someone who you know and you really do know what you're talking about, and someone says something wrong, and then if it's, I mean, unless it's really a battle, which of course teaching and learning shouldn't be like a battle, right? So maybe in a debate situation is different, but in a teaching and learning setting, it makes so much sense to be patient, because it allows for the student to gain the time necessary to again comprehend and make sense of it, and come to their own conclusion. And they're right. I think then picking the moment to then bring it up again, or maybe also, I think sometimes, at least for me, I've in my life, I felt that people who have taught me stuff, they've taught the best teaching moments for me have been in like sort of real life examples. So like when and live examples don't always happen like the moment you want to learn something, right? Like sometimes you need the experience, or you need some event must happen in order for you to be, and then once that event happens, then that person, that guide or mentor or coach or whoever is there to just like, hey, remember what this was what I was talking about, right? And then you're like, oh yes, of course, this is what you're talking about, and it makes more sense. So for me, I think, yeah, like you can't rush that experience of like seeing things in the moment and getting it right at the right moment. So I agree. I definitely agree with this one.
I want to add this, that this is a big problem happen between couples, people in relationship, and also in a working environment, boss and managers. That when a mistake happen, or there's a moment to teach really something about yourself, about your job profession, doesn't matter. We feel sort of panicked that if we don't jump at that right moment, the issue is going on, is going to be around. It won't fix forever. So I have to fix it at the moment. And this brings us with the kind of language, conversations, logic, which is not as strong enough. Even we are right. And it's this kind of this pride, and we feel inside, and less likely. So we're not going to go do something kind of effective. And it's actually a kind of um, unfortunate that we typically end up with uh, addressing the most delicate, sensitive, important, and complex teaching tasks just when we feel irritated and distressed.
Yes, sure.
So this is the paradox. I have seen teachers, young teachers, I mean, the child make a bad mistake, and they love their job, and they feel, I feel that the heartbeat is increasing, and they want to teach in that moment that they are so vulnerable. When it comes to friends, we want to just bring it out. We don't want to wait a little bit. When two couples they go out for date, and one of them says something wrong, and the other one want to fix it immediately, from the moment that emotionally you are full of emotion, full of hormones. If you wait a little bit, if you try to analyze your teaching approaches, and then you act, then you are a wise teacher. So wise teachers, they know how to do this. So why not we teach these skills from early ages? In this kind of, why children, they never learn because they never being in a position to engage and collaborate. It's just as kind of teachers. That means I grown up with this personality that why should I think? Always there's a teacher in my life. Tell me what to do. So if I find a girlfriend, she will know everything about me. If I find a company, they will know about me. If I'm going to be a manager, my team members, they all know what to do. If they don't know, blame them. because I'm looking for that teacher everywhere in my life.
Mm.
When I face with everything, I'm looking for that hidden teachers to come and fix things, rather than understanding that how easy to be a teacher to communicate, educate, and collaborate. Team form only if we can do this kind of teaching. So it's good to say, I'm teaching you, you're teaching me, so everybody teach each other. Brainstorming is a teaching session, but it
Mm.
should be in a way to, in a nice way and proper way. Let's go for the last thing I have in my mind. Uh, I think this is different than the one that I said. Good teachers admit they don't know a lot of things. Good teachers are also good students.
Right.
Think about it.
Good teachers are good students. For
Yes.
sure, you have to be, right? You have to be, because otherwise there's no way you can grow, right? If you think you know everything and then you don't try to continue learn or even learn from your students, then you're gonna stagnate, right? You're not gonna. So I think it had you yes, agree for sure. This one is yeah.
Let me intervene here. There's a little different. If you know everything, that's what we discussed. When I'm saying good student means they know the need for change and learning.
Mhm.
I know many things. I know many things. I'm very, very good at everything, for example. But do I need still growing or not? If I don't feel, let's say I'm a math teacher and teaching for 20 years. If I feel I have to improve, that means I have to learn. So it means that in one side, I come and I have thousands of students. In the other side, I'm getting my PhD or learning from books and acting like a student. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm trying to focus. You see this
Yeah.
stereotype term that I wanted, for example, I by purpose today, I pick up one example from a school, I pick up one example from relationship, because I wanted to send this message that how our life is kind of became miserable, or personal life, because of these simple skills that we didn't face with it in the school. Okay, I want to tell you that you yourself, anyone else, if remember your all the collision and problem that you have in communication with your partners, with your girlfriend, wife, and staffs and team members. These are all coming from same source. That you haven't been in the position of being a good listener, which I'm going to talk about this in another video. What are the aspects of a good listener, a smart listener, and also being a good teacher in this video. You see, we keep saying that, this is a very famous slogan. I hear it a lot, that I want you to like me just as I am. You hear that, huh? It's a very
Yeah.
famous, lovely message.
Yeah.
So
All the movies.
all the movies, but there is something I don't like about it, because I think only a perfect being would be committed to staying just as they are. I don't understand that. What is this message? No, no, don't like me as I am, but please start to teach me, and because I want to improve. This message is
Yeah.
dangerous a little bit. If I'm looking for people that they like me just as I am, this means I have tendency to not change. This means I don't want to be a good student. I want to just be a good teacher. I just want to do the
Right.
teaching and not being a student. So this required that I grown up in an environment that keep learning means keep changing, and understanding life is opposite to the death, and life means change and death means not change. So to change, you need to be a good student. To provide change for other people, you need to be a good teacher. So this is what is going to happen. The school system never told me anything about it. I mean, because why should I be in a teacher position? I have to just follow and finish it. And because the environment is like a very force, so I want to just finish being a student one day. So this is what I'm trying to pick up, to avoid people that they like you just as you are and nothing else.
Yeah, for sure. I totally get that. I think it's a thing, right? Where like of course we all want to be loved and we all want to be like just appreciated for who we are, because I think as human beings somehow, although we like change and we're excited for change, we're also very lazy and we like things to stay the same, and we like the safety net of not
That is
having
true.
right. Yeah, we like this. So there's is this also another paradox here between us wanting change because we are excited for the future and this, but we also like things the way they are because it makes us feel safe and secure. And I think the healthiest relationships have to be the balance of both. You have to learn to enjoy and accept people for what they are now, but that doesn't mean that you are sort of complacent or okay with them just being or I should say okay with them not evolving or being a better version of that. Not that you may necessarily know what that is, but that you are part of pushing that forward, right? Because I think like when like if you're with a group of people, like sometimes, and this is a common thing that I think happens to almost everyone. I think this is a very general experience. You go to like school with a bunch of people, right, for a number of years, and you have a close group of friends, and then usually at some point maybe you go separate ways. You're all going to university and different places, right? And then maybe after many years you come and you meet and you realize like you're not really the same anymore. Things are so different, and the fact is you've all grown, you've all changed. You can still enjoy each other and be friends and talk and stuff, but the reality is you've changed, and I think that's a sign of a good, healthy relationship. You were close at one point, you've gone your own different ways, you've all changed. You can come back and you can still be great friends together again, right? What would be the opposite of that? What would be bad? I think is like you're stuck with this group of friends, and then throughout life you basically you're still the same people. 10 years later you're still the exact same people and nothing has changed. You're still talking about the same stuff. You're still doing all the like, to me that doesn't sound healthy. That sounds like a very bad stuck dead kind of thing, where the individuals are not pushing themselves beyond their comfort zones, right? And everyone is just so comfortable being all kind of so that's scary, I think, for me, right? To not have the growth of the individuals because of this sort of collective comfort zone, right? Which is really scary. And that happens with friends, that happens with families, with companies, right? And all of that stuff. So I definitely think the best is the balance of both these things, the change, but also, yes, accept people for what they are.
True.
Like in the moment, at least acceptance, right? At least acceptance should be there.
It's this desire to be a good student is very critical for being in the position of a good teacher. I mean, like, they come both together. They sort of complementary. And then again, when we back to modern learning methodology, like collaborative learning, that when we let children to create course, create content, and then they go and it's totally admit, when for example someone create a video in YouTube, they, for example, open up to comments, give us the comments, and some other professional come and give the comments, and even sometimes they record the video again. This environment, this kind of collaborative environment, really resolves such a kind of things. That means I know I have to be a student, otherwise I don't have new contents to produce. I have to be good teachers because I'm going to create nice videos for people. I have to communicate with them. So this is back and forward, really build some different personality, that we are humble, we are okay to understanding some things. We try to find people that can teach us good stuff, and we are not attached. The self-worth is detached from our behaviors and opinion and these kind of things. Self-worth, Rohan, is given to you, and it's not coming from your mistakes and people comments and this and then. And unfortunately, again, we grown up with an environment that self-worth come from mommy, daddy, school, exam paper, government, religious, boss, and entire of life we are seeking for approval. We are approval seeker animal, rather than thinking that, hey, God is saying, stop. What do you mean by that? It's not just, are you okay? The question is, am I okay as well? And this is coming from a school system that be able to build such a kind of confidence and self-value, self-worth. And I hope that we can build such a kind of perspectives in children to be that kind of teacher, that kind of students, and also when it comes to adult, understand this in their personal life, and also when they react with teachers. And I believe that I'm very sensitive, because I'm very important to say that how simply this just exam paper can screw up many aspects of our life in the future. Just this very simple, and we have always these questions: why I am like this, why I do have this fear, why I'm not good in this and that, this kind of I ams. And we never think that where these things started when we were a child, alone, and then in a classroom with one person, and a lot of that person mistakes, and that is the moment it started. The fear started the moment we learned that we have to survive in the way that to get the approval. and rather than focusing on subjects, rather than asking questions. And if you were like that, the term was troublemaker. So this is a kind of psychological term they assign to people. Back to our discussion, I believe being a good teacher is a critical aspect of new modern education system. Not only students, when they get adult, they have to continue to be a good teacher for their life, for their children, for their partners, for their friends, for the society, and definitely require the collaborative learning model and a student-centric approach to let us to bringing out. So these are just five things that I wanted to share toward how to be a good teacher in life. And again, teaching is not just course. Teaching is about school teaching is about life. Is about make people to understand you in a better way and explain them all the things that you have in your mind and they don't have it. That was my talk, Rohan, about being a teacher. Anything you like to add?
No, that was awesome. Nice. Really, I like, especially the last point for me. I think it's a very like good point on like, and I think more people need to hear this and think about this like in their personal life, even adults, right? Who are working, like always try to surround yourself with people who, for sure, they accept you, but they push you also and they help you to grow because otherwise you are dying, right?
True, true. Accepting you as you are and wishing you to what you will be. You know, it's two important things should come together, not just that cliche "I love you" just as you are. And this is. If someone tell me, I feel a little bit. I have to think of it. Oh, I feel if I feel I want to be like this tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, I feel really scary. It's important that a process of change come to the game. So that's all. I hope you people also enjoy from our conversation about how to be a good teacher. We're gonna have another talk maybe soon about how to be a good listener. I think these two are connected. I mean, the ability. Because if I want to be able to teach people, they are supposed to do that. And that is the time that I have to listen. And what are the skills from listening that we never got from school again? And that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, that's all, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good day. Bye bye, Zoe.
Awesome. Take care, guys. Bye bye.